What's poppin', Trey TV gang? It's your boy Trey TV.
And it's your boy Lamar Wilson.
And we back at you with another reaction. With this one, we got Kendrick Lamar breaks down Not Like Us. He had an interview with SZA. A lot of people say he should have went to somewhere else, so he got more challenging questions. You know how they were saying like Kamala Harris, he was going to places where they really wasn't challenging her with the questions. That's what people are trying to say about this Kendrick situation. So I can't wait to see what SZA had to say about this.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in this because I would feel like SZA should be able to ask him questions with a little more depth to it, since they work so closely together. So I'm interested to see how this goes.
Yeah, me too. Before we get into the video, you didn't subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Make sure you do that. It helps the channel out a lot. Without further ado, let's get straight into this reaction. Chi, get the yayo.
Get the yayo.
Whatever you say, Chid's gonna be on YouTube with it, man.
Kendrick Lamar is now doing interviews as he sat down with Harper's Bazaar magazine, but obviously there has to be a little bit of a wrinkle with everything that Kendrick Lamar does. So this interview, even though it was for this magazine, it was done at the request of Kendrick by SZA. They get into mental health and motivation, and Kendrick says his actions are not motivated by anger, but understands that love and war both deserve to be acknowledged. Not that they represent him, but he acknowledges that they both need to exist in the world. And
like, everybody got a good side and a bad side. Love and war. Some part of me to play with, some parts of me is just not safe to play with. And that's anybody, not just him.
Yeah, but you need to know the people who you're around so you get the wrong side.
Yeah, facts.
Of course, he would be asked about Drake and Not Like Us, and he would give his definition of what it means to him. What's up, y'all? It's your man Talkless World Report for the Chick Smooth channel. We gotta talk about this. SZA didn't waste any time. As soon as they sat down, she starts off saying, I want to ask you about your mental health. Do you feel like you suffer from mental illness or experience it ever? Or do you just feel like you're in a multitude of feelings and you're not putting a label on it? Kendrick would say, I grew up with that term. I was hearing it when I was 5 or 6 years old. So you identify with it, but not as it? Then he says, my whole thing is, it's all experience. I say some shit on the record and identify with the moment, and then I don't identify with it anymore. That's just growth for me. All that shit is subjective. Then SZA says, it's giving self-therapy, which Kendrick replies, I think it's going back to my inner child, right? I was trying to understand myself, trying to find people I could relate to, how to identify myself outside myself. It sounds crazy to a lot of people. I really can see myself out of my body. When I do that, I have no judgment towards it. It's too many eyes on me to not remove myself. That shit is scary to anybody else, which SZA focuses on and asks, are you scared? And he would say, no, because I've learned that I can't identify with my performances on stage. I can't hold my true whole identity to that person who's on stage. Because if I did, that means I would judge every movement, every time I mess up a lyric, every time I'm off key. It's too much to deal with. So I have to have a distance between the performer and the person I close my eyes and look at the ceiling with. I had to develop that tough skin at like 16 or 17 years old, not knowing it was not only for my career, but for myself.
And it'd be like the stuff that artists be going through that you have no idea that they're going through. If they miss up a part of the song or mess up a lyric, that they hold so much against them. But that was smart, like he said, like I had to put some distance between that person and myself because I don't want to bring that stress over to my other side of my life. Just leave it on the stage, on the performance, and just, it is what it is. If I bring all the stress with me, it's going to wear me down and weigh on me.
Yeah, because artists are so particular about everything. To get to the point that they want to, they have to do stuff so many times, and it's just they're very self-correcting.
Okay.
So it's hard to let go of stuff sometimes. Like you gotta let go of it. Like it's like if you miss a note, it's gone. Let it go.
Yeah.
Continue.
Get the next one.
Yeah.
Make sure you kill.
Make sure you don't miss any more.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in your head, you be like, damn, I missed that B flat.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's mentally ill for sure. And then the conversation gets a little more spiritual as before asking about God, SZA asks, have you done ayahuasca? And Kendrick says no, which she then replies to surprise saying, what? I wonder how you're arriving at all these conclusions. I want to talk.
Do you know what she's talking about? The ayahuasca? You know what that is?
Ayahuasca, it's like a spiritual drug.
Oh, okay. I never heard of it. All right, where you learning about that at?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
Surprise saying, what? I wonder how you're arriving at all these conclusions. I want to talk to you about your spiritual practices. How many spiritual practices contribute to your day-to-day? And he says, all day, every day. She says, all day is ceremony? And Kendrick gets personal saying, Ain't no BS, ain't no cliche, but I literally talk to God. Like, it's to a point where I'll be starting to think I'm going crazy, but then he has to remind me, no, this is really me. Well, if that's true, and he does talk to God every day, how was Drake ever gonna win a rap battle against God? Drake said 20 versus 1, but I guess he missed a very important person. But Kendrick will continue. My early morning practice is that I have to run. When I started running, that's where I started to understand. There was this threshold of pain in the spirituality for me. I remember my shins was aching and I was like, I got 1 mile to go. Then I get whispers and downloads and start talking about shit that I want to know about. And next thing I'm 3 miles in, 4 miles in. I wake up and do it every day. She says, loss of self, you have to break yourself. And he replied, I have to.
You hear that with a lot of people. Like, just running helps them because when you out jogging, it's just you and your thoughts. There's no one's around. There's no distractions. You really get to lock into your thoughts. And it sounds like that's what he's using his runs to do.
Yeah, it's a lot of peace and tranquility.
Yeah.
While you're off on the run, and you're trying to conquer what's in front of you, but the main thing in front of you is you.
Yeah, you gotta conquer your mind because your mind is like telling you like, "Yo, I'm tired.
I'm ready to walk."
Yeah, I'm ready to start running.
You know what I'm saying? There's no reason. Call Uber. Nah, you gotta be persistent.
Facts.
And then SZA would try to dig deeper into his internal creative and spiritual practices. As she says, I'm grateful for the God T. Sidebar, what do you feel like your top 3 contributing factors to self-transformation in the last few years have been? And he says, the power of honesty and being honest with myself, perspective about the person sitting across from me, and learning that vulnerability is not a weakness. That last one probably been one I'm still developing. To that, SZA will ask which one was the most difficult, and Kendrick will talk about his childhood and how there is no growth without vulnerability. He says the last one was most difficult. She says why? And he replies, we talk about our childhood. I hate going back to that. It's traumatizing. My pops, he was tough. He was militant. As far as every day, you are expected to go to work, take care of your family, get back up to do it all over again. Being a man type shit, right? And he never showed no weakness. He never showed any emotion that could garner a one-up from the person sitting across from him. And I learned to experience that, not knowing I had them same traits, right? But
it's like crazy. And that's good that he had, that he had that type of figure in his life. And a lot of males is missing that type of figure in their life. But somebody that you see day in, day out, go to work, do what they got to do for their family, go to sleep, and do it again.
Yeah. Yes, it's far and in between.
Yeah, it's easier to replicate it when you've seen it. It's a lot harder to replicate it when you never see nobody in the household doing that.
Facts.
But for what I do, there is certainly no growth without vulnerability. If I understood the power of vulnerability earlier, I could have had more depth and more reach to the guys that was around me in the neighborhood coming up. You know, our parents, they never had these outlets to express themselves the way they wanted to. I've always looked at us as somewhat of a beacon of hope for them. I've always wanted to know, how does your mom feel about your self-expression? He would ask SZA. SZA would give a story about how her mom grew up and how SZA was able to give her mom freedom through her music. And Kendrick said, you did give her freedom. And SZA says, and she gave it to me. But she would turn that right into, when was the last time you cried? When was the first time you cried? And Kendrick would say, I would say the last time I cried was probably on Mr. Morale, on the Mother I Sober record. It was deep for me. SZA would ask, would you say you've done more crying recently than you have in your life? He said, now? Yeah, I have to. She said, it's cleansing. And he replied, it might be easier for you though, which SZA replies to, I cry all the time. I'm gonna cry right now because that's just beautiful. Wait, you didn't tell me. What was the first time that you allowed it to happen? Which then Kendrick says, the first time I allowed it to happen is documented, actually on stage. In 2011 when Dre and Snoop and the whole West Coast was out, and they was like, this is the torch that we were handing off. Dre passed me the torch, and a burst of energy just came out and I had to let it flow.
I only imagine that your whole life coming up watching Snoop and Dre or whoever your favorite artist is,
right?
And then they're passing you the torch like, yo, you up next. That will bring tears to your eyes.
Yeah, and that's how it went down pretty much. It's like, you up right now.
Yeah, and
you the one.
And they called it. I was like,
they don't miss.
How long ago was that? 10 maybe?
That's what I'm saying.
10, 12 years ago, and he's still holding it down.
Still holding it down.
My tears is all on the internet. And now I look back and I love that moment. I love that happened because it showed me in real time expressing myself and seeing all the work that I put forth actually come to life in that moment. And for those of you who don't remember, here is that moment.
Nigga, you got the torch, nigga. You better run with it. You better run with it, nigga, because it's yours.
Let's go.
What's up?
Wow. Damn. It's crazy. It's like, yo, you could see it. Like, you could just see all the work he put in to get into this spot. He probably never believed he would be in this spot till he actually got in this spot. And he's like, all the work finally paid off.
Now he's surrounded by everybody we've been listening to.
Yeah, and I understand why he said that he's glad that this was recorded. This is a moment that you would want recorded because you can always go back and look at it and you can remember where you was at in that time and place when this happened.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's such a pure moment. Like, a lot of times people miss moments like this because I gotta be tough. I gotta be tough. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, he just let everything run over him. He just felt it at the moment, let it go.
He don't got a problem being vulnerable.
Yeah. Right.
Then after a couple more questions, she would get right into the real question that we all want to know. Can I ask you a hyper masculine question? You can also tell me to shut the F up. What does not like us mean to you? He would laugh and say, not like us? Not like us is the energy of who I am, the type of man I represent. Now, if you identify with the man that I represent, SZA would cut him off saying, break that man down for me. And Kendrick was saying, this man has morals, he has values, he believes in something, he stands on something, he's not pandering. He's a man who can recognize his mistakes and not be afraid to share the mistakes and can dig deep down into the fear-based ideologies or experiences to be able to express them without feeling like he's less of a man. If I'm thinking of not like us, I'm thinking of me and whoever identifies with that. SZA says, now, Can I say something else in that realm? Or you want me to get away from that? Can I ask you something else? And hilariously, he asks, is it mean? She says, no, it's more like, I thought it was really interesting that there was any consensus at all that you might be an angry individual. For me, I don't find that any energy that comes from you comes from an angry place. And actually, the last hour and change pretty much solidifies that it's almost from a monk-like place. So when you feel the surge of energy in records like that, where is the root? Is it anger? And he would say, I don't believe I'm an angry person, but I do believe in love and war. And I believe they both need to exist. And my awareness of that allows me to react to things but not identify with them as who I am. Just allowing them to exist and allowing them to flow through me. That's what I believe. And SZA says, I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead before I say something crazy.
You guys, like, to me in this interview, it was almost like the way she's like wording the question that he was like, I really don't want to talk about the Drake situation.
Yeah.
You can ask me whatever you want to ask me, but don't really touch on that like that.
Try to stay away from it a little
Yeah, I'm
bit.
trying to get past that. We had our moment.
It's come and gone.
I'm just trying to keep it moving in a positive direction. I like the fact that how he broke the song down and what it meant to him. Because he hasn't really did any interviews since that situation, so it's good that he really starting to do interviews now. Because people definitely want to know how he feel about the situation. Even though you want to get past it, people want to know how you felt during that whole situation.
It just feels like pretty much he would let you know, I'm a stand-up guy. You stand for something or fall for anything. Yeah.
Facts.
Do you think SZA did a great job when she's done doing music? Is being an interviewer or having a podcast something that you would want to see in her future? Let me know in the comment section. But her doing well here?
I think this was a dope interview.
Yeah.
Really touching on who he is on not to sound cliche, but from a moral standpoint.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, he had Mr. Morale.
Yeah.
But like that's what it really felt like when he explained how he felt about not like us. Even then it was kind of like he expressed himself just being vulnerable and open and letting you know who he is and what he stands for, what he believes in. And what should be done and what shouldn't.
Yeah.
It was kind of straightforward when
Yeah.
you really think about it.
It was.
But I thought this was dope, just catching another side and a perspective directly from himself. I thought it was cool. What you think?
I think it was a cool interview. It was nice to see that K-Dot is outside doing interviews. He did an interview with his label. Made look like it was a little structured interview. I hope like going in the future he's doing more interviews. He's letting people ask the questions that they want to ask, because the way she was wording the questions, you could tell some stuff that she wasn't supposed to ask. But I think it's good that he's back outside. Like I said, can't wait to see what all the interviews he's coming out with, because people really want to hear how he thinks and how he speaks. So it's good that he's actually giving the people what they asking for. Can't wait until then. But until then, it's your boy Trey TV, and I'm out.